Hi Leo. Well, welcome to your April 2020 Tarot and Astrology reading. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all staying well. I hope you're all feeling in some way, shape, or form, either spiritually or literally, physically protected and safe. Aries season's an interesting one for Leos. It's meant to be a time when you plan your vacations, you go on trips, and as we are housebound, most of us, and Saturn moving into Aquarius has indeed restricted our flight via air. The ninth house energy is also about taking journeys of the mind. Ten of Swords, Knight of Swords, and the Two of Swords. But you're reluctant to get to that route. There is a route of some kind in your life, Leo, something that is possibly an unfounded fear, possibly is a founded fear, possibly is the anxiety of the situation, the world around you. And the Two of Swords, Ten of Swords, Knight of Swords energy suggests that you're quite likely very in your head, very much reluctant to see the answer even if it existed. It's kind of a state of mind thing. The Ten of Swords, though, is in some ways quite a relieving card because it's very much to do with the completion of a negative, toxic, unhappy cycle. Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, the remainder Jupiter conjunct Pluto, I think I said that, in Capricorn, is very deep, intense energy in some ways. You know, it is the heaven and hell aspect, Jupiter being very heavenly, abundant, joyful, and Pluto being the underworld as represented in the Ten of Swords. And I know as a Leo, you're probably looking at this and thinking, I'm not into this heavy stuff. This is too heavy for me. There's a purpose here for you. Jupiter conjunct Pluto. It's occurring in your sector of habit. And it's time to let some habits die. It's like a Star is Born where he says, he sings, maybe it's time to let the old, is it the old ways die? Is that what it is? Yeah, I think it's something like that. Oh. Perhaps you've been very disappointed by somebody, possibly an air sign. Somebody that you thought was going to be a bit more communicative in this time, a bit more supportive. You're in the first week of April, you're very tempestuous. That Mars Saturn conjunction in your partnership sector suggests that those of you in established bonds or business partnerships may be very frustrated with your significant other, and if not approached with caution, you may very well decide to sever ties completely, only to regret it later. Now is an interesting time for you mentally. Mars and Saturn camped out in your partnership sector, albeit the early stages, and Mars will remain there for the rest of the month, as will Saturn. But they will not be dancing as closely. You will have a perspective shift in the second week. Please don't make any hasty decisions in the first week, because they're likely to stick a lot longer than you want them to. And in the second week of April, you're starting to feel a lot brighter. So you approach the full moon in Libra, your third house of communication. You finally get to the bottom of something. You finally understand yourself, your partner, your friends, your family, and communication is good. You're hearing from people, the dialogue is open, you feel a little less frustrated. Around that same time, Mars does square off Uranus in your career sector, but you're more focused on having some kind of deep connection with somebody. You want to feel more adored than you certainly do in the first week of April. Otherwise, you will go. 8 of Cups. 6 of Cups, I think you'll probably come back again. So there's a lot of oscillating here. Your partnerships are a little bit confusing with Mars. Mars pushes buttons in your partnership sector. It really does. It commits and solidifies things, but it also makes them more intense. Now, in terms of, because a lot of people say, you talk too much about love. You are going to be a very happy cat by the end of April. A very happy cat indeed. 10 of Cups and the King of Wands. Satisfaction on most levels, actually. The unexpected twists and turns of Pluto and Saturn this year are leaving us all very much, in many ways, everyone has an aspect of their life that feels quite like the 10 of Swords. It feels dark, it feels heavy, it feels overwhelming. For a lot of you Leos, you really got sidetracked by it coming in with the Knight of Swords. It happened very quickly and you weren't ready to make a decision. Perhaps you had to make a decision and you didn't make the right choice in your opinion, or you feel like you didn't act quickly enough. Financially, if you're feeling very stuck in the first week, for some reason in the second week, and especially into the third as we move towards Taurus season, your career sector, you start to see, wow, Queen of Wands. You start to see how things are actually going to line up pretty nicely for you for the rest of 2020 in terms of initiative. Pluto will go retrograde in Capricorn, giving us much of a reprieve on the 25th. Around that time, the 22nd, we have a new moon in Taurus. The new moon in Taurus means a fresh start in business, a fresh start in career, a fresh start in your role in society. And Leo, do you know what? Somebody's gone away and thought, do you know who'd be great at this? Leo would be great at this. Or do you know who's really been working hard from home? Leo's really been working hard from home. Or do you know who would be great to call about this opportunity? Leo would be great to call about this opportunity. Or, you know what you're thinking? I've got an idea. Romantically speaking, if you're involved with another fire sign, it takes off pretty quickly, or it goes from strength to strength at the end of the month, provided you guys keep the lines of communication open as offered by the full moon in Libra. Now, in the second week to the third week, as I'm sort of seeing here, a lot of you are considering, business-wise, it's so interesting for you if you're looking for career advice. It's looking really lucky from the midpoint of the month onward. Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Pentacles. An offer of fate, an unexpected offer, especially in business, especially in money. Things are really lining up for you there. Jupiter conjunct Pluto is giving you the opportunity, Leo, to really get something off the ground in terms of your habits and skills, your interpersonal skills. But it involves a little bit of letting go is honestly what's happening here for you. A lot of, with that 8 of Cups, 6 of Cups, a lot of leaving behind some kind of habit, some kind of idea, something that you're clinging to. A lot of the time I've noticed with Leo people in my life is that they don't like to admit defeat when something's not working. They don't like to say that something is less than ideal. Something has indeed been less than ideal. People want to support you though. Other fire signs want to support you. Even in the first week, Leo, I'm sensing very heavy energies, as if you feel just, it's not surprising given what's going on in the world, but if I was to hedge a guess that it's not to do with what's going on in the world, I would say that a lot of it is possibly from great disappointment in your intimate life, with Mercury being in Pisces. And if it's not that, it's frustration that something you were building up financially, career-wise, you're getting off the ground, that you were in the incubation stages of, has now it's like the plug's been pulled. But you wouldn't worry about that if you could see what was coming for you. For a lot of you might go back to an old job. For a lot of you might go back to an old romantic situation. For a lot of you might be going back to your old neighborhood. Whatever this 8 of Cups, 6 of Cups, this return to the past in some way, which is happening for a lot of people with that Libra full moon. My interpretation of it in a personal level rather than an astrological level is that perhaps the Libra full moon wants to unite people in terms of partnerships. So you very well may be one of those Leos that reaches out to an ex, has an ex reach out to you. But I do think for a lot of you, it's possibly a career opportunity or business opportunity. The interesting thing about energies in astrology and lockdown is that they continue regardless. You can't necessarily hold astrology accountable for the delays, as it were, because we all knew that 2020 was going to be huge. Everybody knew that. But not everyone knows exactly how, right? But the energies manifested nonetheless. That Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which has been so much to do with restructuring the world, is a slower moving energy. That eclipse in Cancer, that has And I don't feel like anybody's really talking about this, but that eclipse in Cancer in January has really changed the way we view our families and our home. You know, Cancer rules the home, and then there's this grand eclipse, and 6 months within that, as is the timing of an eclipse, we're all homebound. It's quite interesting. Just because these energies are lining up so very nicely doesn't mean you see them immediately. No. Because, to be honest, Leo, the best part of your reading here takes part in the second half of the month. And I think it's when the sun shifts into Taurus. And as usual, it will make interesting aspects to Uranus. It will make that conjunction on the 26th. Venus in Gemini, as it will be from April 3rd onwards. Venus will actually be in Gemini until your season, believe it or not. August 7th, it'll retrograde in May. And for you, Leo, Gemini is that 11th house of online communication. So just so you know, Venus being in your sector of online communication means that for those of you that are single, or those of you that are looking to connect with somebody, it's actually amazing how much love is coming up in these readings. And call me crazy. A lot of you do anyway. But the energies of love that are coming through so strongly in the other readings, it came through so strongly in Pisces too. The energy of love that's coming through is showing that it gets through regardless. 8 of Wands and the Queen of Wands. If you are single, online luck is very strong with Venus being in Gemini. Okay, very strong. The 11th house is technology, it is online, it is wish fulfillment even. And the 10 of Cups is pretty much, especially with the Wheel of Fortune, as good as it gets. I actually feel that some of you could do very well through some online marketing in terms of business, especially if you're looking for a career move. It's a great time to reflect, and I think a lot of you have been majorly disappointed that 10 of Swords energy. But to go from a 10 of Swords to the 10 of Cups, Leo, is very, very impressive. Financially speaking, you will find yourself at the end of the year on a much better salary, I would think. Uranus in Taurus is actually amazing for many Leos because it's setting you free of the paradigm you had regarding work, whereas you maybe thought you had to do a certain genre of work or a certain career path. Now, King of Cups at the bottom of the deck seems to be suggesting that if you're dealing with a water sign in your life, there is possible talk of engagement for some that are headed that direction. There's much to celebrate. But for others of you, you may be celebrating some sort of, I think for maybe some Leos are deciding to go back to university or graduating, or you could be dealing with I think a lot of you could be dating multiple people. And if that's the case, I feel like they really have quite a lot to say about it. There are 2 queens in view. Oh, but the air sign's an interesting dynamic. We'll get into that in the extended. But what I'm seeing for you is if you're dealing with a water sign, there is possibly some kind of toxic habit there that could be quite frustrating, particularly if you live with them or you have children with them. You could be getting quite irritable about it. Use your charm as you usually do, and if you're dealing with an earth sign, they're quite defensive about their finances, and they're also having pangs of jealousy surrounding something in your life, perhaps when things start lining up so nicely for you financially. Earth signs can feel quite threatened by that. So Leo, we're going to hop into your extended, use some other decks, get a little bit more perspective, see what this 10 of Cups moment is that makes you so very happy at the end of April. And I will see you guys there. Bye, Leo.